Hey all, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm once again gonna dare to be stupid when I look at this guy. It is the Studio Series 86 Junkheap, the next Junkyard in that line, in that series. He's gonna be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, loud of my baby, hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, the Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below. Also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through Spring. Or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. And this is the Studio Series 86 Junkheap, or Junkyard if you prefer, since his actual G1 name is Junkyard. I don't think it really matters if we go by Junkyard or Junkheap. He is a little bit interesting, not only because he's a remold of the fantastic Studio Series 86 Wreck-Gar, but because the look of the guy and the name of the guy both have a little bit of history, a little bit of story behind them. Without any further ado, how about we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. Oh yeah, and I've been waiting a long time for this. I want to give a shout out to Ultra Megatronus for helping hook me up with this guy. I loved the Wreck-Gar mold, and I couldn't wait to get it as Junkheap, or rather Junkyard if you prefer, since that's the actual name of the character. Now, not only is the name a little bit confusing, though I'm going to use Junkheap here since that's what he's called now. If I do call him Junkyard, then you know why, because that's the original, like I said, G1 name. But even when we get to talking about his coloration and whatnot and his animation accuracy, that's a little bit of an interesting story too. But before we get into that, let's do what we always do and kick things off with the packaging first. And we got ourselves some pretty nice packaging here. Here's a picture of him down right here, and over on the side, kind of a close-up of his face. Nice artwork of him over here, and of course the product images on the back. Inside, we have, of course, one of those like diorama scene things. I think this one is when they were having the dance party on Junkyard, even though I have him here with his motorcycle mode. And I have him in his motorcycle mode because while we normally do the transformation going from the way he comes in package, by the way, this was a windowless package if you noticed. While we normally do it the way it comes in package, in this case it would be robot to vehicle, since we've already shown that with Wreck-Gar, we're going to do vehicle back to robot. Here are the instructions anyway, not that we really need them. And here we have both Junkheap as well as Wreck-Gar in their motorcycle modes. Very similar looking motorcycle modes. However, there are not only coloration differences, but the extra piece down here on Junkheap, which Starscream wife likes. She thinks that that extra piece, which is basically his forearm armor, she thinks though that in this mode it makes it look a little more motorcycle-ish. Nevertheless, they look really good together. I looked at Wreck-Gar back in episode 896. So if you actually do want to see the transformation the way it should be in a package from robot to vehicle, check that one out. A couple of other interesting points before we kind of move on from the motorcycle. First, you'll notice there's a tab up here on the seat. That is meant to allow Wreck-Gar or another Junkyard to actually sit on the guy solidly, securely. It's supposed to tab in. Does it actually? I'm not sure, but we're going to find out shortly because now I actually do have 2 copies of this mold to test it. He also comes with the exact same axe accessory that Wreck-Gar came with, which is a fine accessory. A lot of people say that theirs falls out of the hole in the back. There's 2 holes back there. There's one that's lower that I think a screw or a pin or something might be in, and then there's one that's higher that's maybe 3mm. It got to go into 3mm. Now, I guess you could knock it out, but I find on both of my copies that this is fairly secure. It's not just going to fall out by itself back here, but I think that might be a case of, like, you know, variances and your mileage will vary and whatever you want to call it. I'll also note a couple of other things that I didn't with the Wreck-Gar one. Following the Wreck-Gar review, I put up a short, and the short explained about these little stabilizers here. I like that. It's a nice little touch in the leg. I think it was Dragonfly who might have actually pointed it out to me that I'd missed it in the Wreck-Gar review. However, having them down allows the bike to actually stand up straight. It's a two-wheel bike. It's always been I guess a balancing act, a bit of a chore to get the bikes to stand up. This is a nice, elegant little non-intrusive way of doing it. It's not just a kickstand. It's on both sides. It keeps the bike straight. I like it. It's a nice little feature. Also, the wheels are two different sizes. There is a thin one and there is a thick one. A lot of people think the wheels are interchangeable. They are not. The thin one needs to go up front. The one that's slightly thicker needs to go in the back. If you try and put the thin one in the back, it won't roll. Still a little tight on the front, but at least it rolls decently well. So just a couple of things there worth pointing out. Now I guess it's only fair that I kind of end looking at the bike with this. There's a rectangular slot up there that goes over this rectangular tab apparently right here. And I guess it's supposed to, can the legs go forward? I guess they, I'm not trying, by the way, to get him holding on to the handlebars, but yeah, I guess if you took the time and care and consideration to actually set him up, yeah, he can ride him all right. There you go, a little bit better of a look. Yeah, I think that this works all right. Let's get into the transformation. So we really begin by kind of picking off the side, and there's a rectangular tab on the side of the foot and a rectangular slot up underneath this armor, and that does tab on, so you got to take that off on both sides first. It basically lets you swing the arms out, which we'll deal with in just a few moments. Then we can take the legs and bring them down and really, I guess, sort of split them here and get that tire out. And then we straighten up the legs, straighten out the feet, put in those pieces on the back of the legs. We can take this tire and we'll put it on over this side, and really we can kind of stand the guy up and deal with the rest next. But before we do that, we're going to deal with this armor on the arm first, because it can be a little bit of a nuisance if you forget to do it or do it later. So before you transform anything else, circle that around so that it clears everything here. Same on the other side. Come over here, I guess take that tire off. Same thing. Now you're gonna have to get this little section here past the handlebars, so just be careful with it. Yeah, like kind of angle the arm out a little bit first. There you go. That got all of that out and open. We can also take this tire and put it on the other leg. Then we can bend up the waist, really, thusly, and now we really just sort of unfurl the upper body and fold in this section. Now the head comes up here. Very important when you transform this guy to make sure that the head comes all the way up through. Though his horns go pushed to the back of his head, I do find if you don't make sure that they come up through as well, they will get malformed because it's a soft rubbery plastic. So you want to make sure that they come up. Then you bring the whole thing down. Close that in. And these should all be opened out. Bring this all forward and fold in the chest section. After you fold in the chest section, you know what? We're actually going to stand them up and finish the rest of it now that we got the chest section kind of folded in. Now I know I folded the chest section in, but that was actually in error. I shouldn't fold that in yet. I should actually kind of collapse this up first. I'll bring the arms back in, and we're going to end up using these rectangular tabs here on each side. They will go into slots behind the chest piece as we angle this up. Bring that arm down, bring that arm down. Then, before we kind of tab all this in, now we bring down the chest section. It doesn't want to do this well for me now for some reason. Why am I... There. Why was I having a time with that, I wonder? There. Straighten that up. Whew. So we just push it all in together. We straighten it all up. I don't quite have this arm in because this tab is not in behind the chest. If you make that same mistake as me, you can just pull the chest out, push these back in, and then push the chest back down. Minor thing. Really, you're kind of accordioning the hinge that has the head in, and then you're bringing the shoulders in and bringing this down over the back. And then you kind of push everything up and make sure that the chest tabs in over the 2 rectangular slots that's there. All in all, here we have, boom, Junkheap in his robot mode. And I love it. Oh, by the way, I did not flip out his hands. My mistake, my mistake. Just like with Wreck-Gar, transformation's a 10. I love the way that the body unfurls and then collapses back up. You have a series of hinges that accordion in on the waist. You have a couple of hinges that accordion into the body for the head and neck while you're pushing like this piece down behind. And then these tab in nice and solid just behind the chest. It's elegant. It's a great transformation. Now, what about the look of the guy? Well, the look of the guy is interesting because it very much harkens back to the original design by Floro Dery, who was like a I don't know, like a leader of design or whatever for the G1 cartoon as well as the movie. However, alterations were made to the final model by Toei Animation. So while Junkyard in the animation does look slightly different, it's because the company doing the animation took liberties with the original design. If that makes sense. The coloration, the layout, the palette of colors is very much like the G1 cartoon. More so than, say, the comics. Right down to the red eyes, the little red part above his eyebrows, the yellow on the shoulder and the forearms, the brown on the chest with these sections coming down off of it. And the horns on the head, which I'm not sure if I pushed them forward. If not, there you go, they're pushed forward. But I think it's more supposed to be a nod to Floro Dery's design, and for that, it succeeds very well. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Floro Dery's original design. Coloration is like the animation, design is like Floro Dery. Overall, I'm going to say it's a solid 9. If you know Junkyard, then you know this character for sure. By the way, I think he was voiced by, was it Michael Bell? I think Michael Bell voiced him. Not that he had a lot of lines. Anyway, nice start with a 9. Transformation, 10. Articulation for this guy. We have a head that goes left, right, up, down. The horns can move as well. The arms can go all the way around, out to the side, down. All of this molded in underneath the armpit as well. We have elbow to 90 degrees, bicep swivel, wrist rotation. These sections on his forearms that are like side armor, they move. Waist, the ab crunch. Fun fact, a lot of people have said that they find the little tab back here tabs in way better on this version than Wreck-Gar. I don't find either one any better than the other. They're both a little bit loose. Now, I mean, as I pick them up and kind of shake them, like, you can see it comes apart a bit, but like it's not a deal breaker. It's not so loosey-goosey that it really affects anything. He's not going to fall over or anything like that. They go out to the side. Ratchets out to the side as well. Again, it could go all the way out if you get the tire off. You can't put the tires up here, by the way. You don't have the room for it. You have 90 degrees at the knee, thigh swivel, ankle tilt, ankle forward and back. Honestly, everything I could want. 10. Here's our boy next to Wreck-Gar, and they're both tremendous. Man, they really finally found a design and a mold that nails the look of the Junkyards, the feel of the Junkyards, and you know what? Honestly, I know people have bought multiple versions of these, and they've gotten some 3D upgrade kits and stuff like to make rubbish, and I think there's one for recycle and whatnot. Cool. If you can, you know, swing your way to get it, cool, because it's a tremendous mold. This is one of those cases where I can't fault people for having multiple versions of it, especially when they are differentiated just enough to seem like individual Junkyards while feeling familiar enough that when you explore it, you kind of already know what goodness to expect. Absolute win for Wreck-Gar, absolute win for Junkheap. And And here we are once again, and here he is. And look, this is a great mold. In motorcycle mode, admittedly, the seat, some people have said, is a little bit wonky, but I understand why it's designed the way it's designed. It's designed that way rather than, you know, the curvature and whatnot of an actual seat, because the intention is to be able to connect another Junkyard like Wreck-Gar to it. So you have to do it with a flat surface with, you know, with that rectangular peg so that by rights he can attach to it. I don't find that I can get Wreck-Gar to attach to it well, but you know, that's probably just not me trying hard enough, to be honest with you. They are great motorcycles. Starscream Wife thinks this one's a little more successful, probably because of the side armor. It seems like, you know, something that would cover the side of a motorcycle, right? They both look great. They're a shared mold, but there's enough new pieces. Again, this is a remolding done right. It's not just the head change. We have new arms, new forearms, and shoulders, and chest. This is what I like to call a reuse and a remold done right, because there's enough new here to make it very unique to this guy. I do find it interesting that rather than going up, you know, with a straight up nod and homage to the animation, I guess because this guy was such a secondary character, they decided to use a bit of an amalgam between the Toei animation and the Fluoro Dairy design. I'm glad they did that, because the Fluoro Dairy design is really where we get this kind of armor on the sides, and I like that. It's something that makes this guy seem like more of a bruiser and more of a brawler. And you know what? I think I actually really dig that, especially where he has some of the spikes up on his shoulders. I like this. I like Wreck-Gar. Absolute win, success. This is a great mold, and like I said, I absolutely understand why there are folks that have gotten the upgrade kits or printed their own upgrade kits and got a couple of versions of this mold, because you know what? It's tremendous, and it can give you an entire Junkyard fleet. As it stands, I'm happy to have Wreck-Gar and this guy, and I think both are an absolute win. Let me know what you think about old Junkheap here. I appreciate you coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel, and especially don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single day, you right there, you do make a difference. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way, right here inside the videos.